As Quinn opened his mouth wide, he could feel the ends of his teeth elongate. He didn't know what had come over him. It was as if his body had just taken control and was working on instinct. His teeth quickly sunk into Layla's skin, and at the same time a gush of blood entered Quinn's mouth. Surprisingly, Layla didn't feel any pain from this. Instead, she felt pleasure. A tingling sensation ran through her body as she felt the blood rush up through and out of her neck. Even if she wanted to resist, she couldn't. The bite seemed to have a paralysis effect. Finally, Quinn's hunger was dissipating. "Your hunger has decreased. Your hunger has decreased. You will no longer lose HP." Even though the messages appeared one after the other, Quinn continued to suck Layla's blood away. "HP regenerating. HP regenerating. 15 of 15 HP. Only after the last message appeared did Quinn's mind fully return. Immediately he let go of Layla, causing her body to fall to the ground. "What the—" Quinn wondered aloud, unsure where he was. Looking around, he noticed the poor girl on the ground. "Shit, did I do that?" As if to answer his question, the images of what he had just done popped into his head. "A positive blood type has been absorbed. You have gained 1 strength. Quinn was curious to check the message, but for now, he needed to get Layla out of the library fast. Even though they were in a quiet part of the library, there was no telling what kind of scene it would cause if somebody found the girl on the floor. Thankfully, Quinn could hear Layla breathing, so he at least wouldn't have to worry about accidentally having sucked her dry. Unfortunately, there were 2 clear bite marks on her neck that needed to be dealt with. He then lifted Layla up with his 2 hands. To his surprise, discovered she was lighter than he had imagined. Not wasting any time, he headed to the doctor's office, all the while going over what had just happened. A part of him tried to convince himself that the system might have just been playing tricks on him. Even though he could see his HP going down, he had never felt like he was going to die at any point. In fact, Quinn didn't know if going to 0 HP equaled death, but after what had happened today, he didn't want to take any chances. There were a few things Quinn needed to do. At the top of the list was to find out how frequently his body required blood. Alas, this meant he would have to once again starve his body of blood. Only this time, he would prepare blood beforehand, so he would be better prepared. But before even all that, he had another serious problem on his hands. Would Layla remember anything when she got up, or would Quinn have to convince her to keep it a secret? If others were to find out of his rare ability, it would start a bidding war between the private companies and the military. They would do anything to get their hand on such a new type of ability. Before anyone could find out about Quinn, he had to become strong enough to protect himself. While Quinn walked down the hallway, he got quite a few looks from the other students. It wasn't strange to see someone carry an injured person in the school, but it was strange for a boy to carry a girl unless they were an item. After enduring all those strange looks, Quinn finally reached the infirmary. Inside there was a single female doctor named Hayley, who looked to be in her early 30s. She wore round glasses and had her hair up in a ponytail. Quinn never got the chance to mess around with girls while at his old school, but looking at the doctor, he couldn't help but appreciate her natural beauty. "Another one?" Hayley sighed before pointing at the back. "There's a free bed there. If you could leave her there, I will get to her as soon as I can." Quinn did as he was told, and placed Layla gently on one of the single beds in the back. The infirmary was quite large. Quinn had never seen a school have one so big. There were a total of 30 beds, yet as far as he could see, Hayley appeared to be the only one working there. At the moment, about half the beds were filled up with students, and Quinn couldn't help but notice most of them were low levels. There were the odd high levels as well. Even they got into their own fights and disagreements. Hayley came over to where Quinn and Layla were and started to examine Layla. She placed her hand around her wrist and did a few other checks. That's when she noticed the 2 small holes on her neck. "What happened?" Hayley asked, clearly concerned. "I'm not sure. I was in the library when I saw her on the ground like that," Quinn replied. "Classes ended not too long ago, so it can't have been too long since she passed out, yet the wound on her neck looks like it's already healing on its own," Hayley noted while writing down her analysis. "Still, I can't be sure if it will heal, and it would be a shame if a pretty girl like her ended up with a scar." Hayley then placed her hand on Layla's neck, where the bite marks were. She closed her eyes, and after a few seconds, lifted her hands and the bite marks had vanished. "Is it okay if I wait here for her?" Quinn asked. "Oh, young kids these days," Hayley grinned. "She's lucky to have someone as caring as you by her side." No, Quinn waved his arms to stress his point. "We're just friends, that's all." Hayley gave him a strange look, seemingly doubting his declaration, but there were other students she had to attend to. After Hayley had gone away to look after other students, Quinn decided to open up his status screen. Strength, 11. Agility, 11. Stamina, 10. So it really did give me an extra stat point after all. He was unsure how exactly sucking someone's blood strengthened him, but he decided not to question it too much. Interestingly, Quinn had received 2 optional quests to suck the blood of those he had defeated. He had assumed that the stat point was like an extra reward for winning a fight, but it appeared like there was no actual need to fight against someone first. In that case, Quinn was theoretically able to drink anyone's blood to gain stat points. However, what would happen if he drank Layla's blood again? Would he gain another stat? There were so many questions Quinn had no answers to. He looked at Layla lying there peacefully. Right now, he was in complete control over his body, and there was no urge for him to suck on Layla's neck again. After checking his teeth, he was thankful that they had gone back to normal. That's when Quinn decided to look around the room until he finally found what he was looking for, a syringe with a needle. Quinn looked around the room, and Hayley appeared to be busy dealing with another student. He carefully took the syringe and hid it behind his back, and then quickly scooted over to where Layla was once more. "I'm really sorry about this, Layla," Quinn apologized to the girl, "but you're going to have to be my guinea pig." Quinn took out the syringe and carefully looked at where Layla's veins were. Luckily, Layla was quite pale, making her veins more visible. He carefully searched for the right spot, and just when he was ready to extract some blood, he heard someone crash into the room. "Is Quinn here?" a panicked boy's voice asked. "Why's Peter here?" Quinn immediately put the syringe into one of his trouser pockets and came to see what his friend wanted. "Quinn, thank God you're here. Quick, I've been looking everywhere for you. It's Vorden, he's in trouble." Although Quinn had no idea what was happening, just from looking at Peter's face he could tell it was serious. Quinn then looked behind to see Layla lying there still sleeping away. It was important for Quinn to be there when Layla woke up. He had to convince her to not tell anyone her secret, but right now it seemed like Vorden was in trouble. Quinn then thought back to the incident at the canteen. When Quinn was in trouble, Vorden stepped up to help him. Although there probably wasn't much Quinn could do to help, he wouldn't know if he didn't try. What kind of person would he be if he couldn't help Vorden now? "All right, come on," Quinn said. "Let's hurry." The two of them quickly ran through the hallways until they had finally reached the assembly hall. It was currently a large empty hall with marble flooring and a stage at the front. It hadn't been used for anything yet so far, but it was the area where the students would be called if they were to have a meeting. When the two of them entered the assembly hall, there were already multiple students there mumbling about a commotion. "Did you see what happened?" "Yeah, that guy's a monster. How could he do that?" "Luckily, the second-year students were here to stop him." The assembly hall was completely trashed. Craters and rubble had formed on parts of the walls and ground. Burn marks and other things were there as well, and there was even blood. Something Quinn could smell the second he had entered the room. "What happened here?" Quinn asked. "Where's Vorden?" Clearly, a fight had taken place here, and Quinn feared the worst. "I don't know," Peter replied. "Me and Vorden were busy messing around, practicing my Earth ability together. That's when a bunch of second-years I'd never seen before came up to us asking for Vorden. Vorden told me not to worry, but of course I'm so worried, so I followed them. That's when I saw them take him to the assembly hall, but 2 of the students stood guard and wouldn't let me come inside. I didn't know what to do, so that's when I came looking for you." Quinn and Peter then went around asking the students what happened, but when they did, the students seemed to avoid the question or completely ignore them, as if they were told not to tell anyone what they had seen. While Peter continued to ask the students that were still in the hall about what happened, Quinn already knew that they wouldn't give him any more answers, so he started to do some inspecting of his own. The smell of iron in the room was thicker than anything else to Quinn, and it led him to an area where dried-up blood could be seen on the floor. "Inspect. Name, Vorden Blade. Race, human. Blood type, O negative." Quinn started to inspect the battle scene and found more traces of blood, but when he used the inspect skill on them, it wouldn't show him any information at all. It would only show a bunch of question marks. "Do I have to use the inspection skill on them in person?" Quinn thought. It was a shame the blood on the floor had already dried up, otherwise Quinn would have used the syringe he had on hand. Just then, Peter had finished questioning everyone and returned to Quinn. "It doesn't look like anyone wants to talk," Peter said. "Figures. Let's just head back to our dorm. Who knows, he might have returned." The two of them then headed back to the dorm room together, and when they entered, they were surprised to actually see Vorden already there. However, something wasn't right. Vorden wasn't his regular self. Just by looking at him, Quinn and Peter could tell he had been in a rough fight. Bruises and scuff marks everywhere, large cuts on his back. He looked like he had been in a tough battle. Not only that, but Vorden didn't even greet them when the two entered. The Vorden they had come to know was not the same Vorden right now. Vorden just stayed there lying down on his bed. "Vorden, what happened? Is everything all right?" Peter asked. "Yeah, just leave me be. I'll be fine," Vorden said. "If you stay near me, you will just get hurt anyway." "What are you talking about, Vorden?" Peter shouted. "Look at you! You have to go to the doctor's office! Come on, let's go!" "Just leave me alone, please," Vorden said quietly. "Quinn, come on, say something! He needs to go to the doctor's office, right?" But as Peter turned around to seek support from Quinn, Quinn was nowhere to be seen. "Even he thinks I'm a monster," Vorden mumbled to himself. Just outside the dorm room, Quinn was leaning up against the door, panting hard and sweating. Although he had no reaction when looking at people anymore, it was different when he saw Vorden. Vorden still had fresh cut marks all over his body, and the smell coming off him was strong. Suddenly, Quinn felt like he had a craving for a little bit of blood. It was something he could control. It wasn't like the last time where his body had taken over, but it had brought back bad memories for him, and he was a little afraid of what might have happened. "I really need to find out what's going on with this strange system ability I have." Then a thought came into his head. There was a pending problem that he still hadn't dealt with. Although Vorden was acting strange right now, Quinn knew he was safe. Whatever problems Vorden were dealing with now would just have to wait. Every second wasted meant there was a chance for Layla to wake up, and who knew what would happen when she did. Just then, at the same time in the doctor's office, in the corner at the back of the room, Layla slowly started to open her eyes. "Huh? What happened?" Layla said. "Where am I?" As Layla looked around the room, she started to rub her neck, and at the same time images had flashed through her head of what had happened at the library. She remembered everything.
Subscribe to the Pocket FM Blockbuster YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notifications. Check out our channel for more exciting shows.